Welcome to Vegas Circle Podcast with your hosts, Paki and Chris. We are people who are passionate about business, success, and culture, and this is our platform to showcase the people in our city who make it happen. On today's podcast, we're going to be uncovering the secrets behind building a successful podcast, crafting the right concept of producing a standout show. Plus, we'll dive into the world of sports betting and explore what separates the top-earning podcasters from the rest. Let's welcome the host of Veterans Minimum, professional sports bettor, producer of Cam and Mace's show called It Is What It Is. We got Mr. Nick Dais. I said it the right way, man. Get you the proper introduction, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's good to be here.
Yeah, man, it's good to finally have you, man. We got a mutual friend, Chris Morhan from New York City also. I got to say this to you in person again on camera. We talked about it when we first met, but Chris has said this. He said, look, this guy, I'm going to tell you straight up, he is a star.
Whoa.
That's
a lot of expectation that he's throwing at me.
That's what he told me, man.
I appreciate that, man. Chris is the man. We spoke today.
Okay.
He sent me a really dope message yesterday. I posted a video of Mace and I. Mace asked me for like hand lotion.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And I was like, yeah, we got some. And as I go to walk out, I go, yo, you want baby oil maybe? Jesus
Christ. With the puff stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
And Chris just like wrote like, bro, think about how crazy this is. Like, you're busting his balls. Think about like, just so often we don't think about like all the shit we've achieved.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm guilty of that. I'm constantly like 100%. more and more. I've done a better job as of late looking back at like, damn, yo, what I'm doing now is pretty dope.
1,000%.
But it's cool to hear that. And that's, I don't use the term big bro often.
Yeah.
Especially being from New York, it's kind of a weird saying, but like that's my guy, man. To this day, like anything Vegas related, any advice, like I go to him. So I appreciate that coming from him.
Yeah, he's good, really, really good dude. When we had him on the pod, and obviously you know what he's doing, so we won't get into that. But we tap into his episode when we had. But let's dive in, man. So originally from Queens, New York City.
Yes, sir.
But you jumped. So you were in the family business before with your father.
Yep.
But you jumped in the podcast business early, man. I want to say about 10, 11 years you've been in the space, right?
2015.
Okay, so you got in right before us.
Yeah,
okay.
2015, I started Veterans Minimum with about 4 other friends.
Okay.
I was always a sports betting dude in my friend group. I was always, and still am, like an encyclopedia. Like, I can name games, fucking players, all that, right? And he's a really successful, like, YouTuber, and he saw where the content space was going. He's like, yo, I got this idea to start a sports show. He's like, yo, you'd be perfect for it. Like, there's the betting angle. And for years, my take was always, betting is the giant elephant in the room that people just ignore, but everyone's doing it, right?
Of course,
like, why else is a Thursday night football game so interesting when it's like Jaguars?
Got too much money on the line. They got money on the line,
there, right? So we started that, and through the years, man, I started doing more podcasts. Like, I was, at the time, Veterans Minimum was just like a New York sports vibe, sports talk show. And we covered like major national news in the sports world. And then it had the New York lingo and the flavor to it. And then I would start doing like betting segments within that, like, I think this team's going to win, but I don't know, 7.5 points is a lot, this and that, and sort of schooling the audience on like what sports betting really is.
That's
and
awesome.
then I started my own sports betting show off that.
Off Veterans Minimum. Okay.
Yeah, it was called D-Generation Bets.
Okay.
I'm a big wrestling fan growing up.
So okay, I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you. Okay.
D-Generation X, Degenerate Bets.
Yeah.
So it kind of flowed.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I was, like I said, I'm a huge wrestling fan, so I was doing a wrestling show too. So I was doing a bunch of different shit in the beginning. And I was doing that for about 4 years. Okay. And then through time, people just went their separate ways. I was going through my own shit too. I wasn't the best person to be working with and getting along. And it's kind of damaged my relationship with those guys. It's become very, like childhood friends. And it's impossible for me to not mix personal with business because my business is personal. So for me, it's like, when you bail on my show, even if you're my friend, you're a dick, and I'm gonna be upset about that.
Because it impacts you.
Like, like you guys know, we've been booking. How long have we booked this show? Like maybe a month, and then we met like 2 weeks ago.
Easily.
So and like you respect people's time, especially when you're in this field.
And we talked probably 100 times before that just to make sure everything's on point. Because people's schedules change.
Yeah, man, and I do that to this day. I'll, if I book someone, say today's the 5th, right? If I booked them December 5th, I'd hit them up 3 weeks out, like, hey man. Here's the bullet points. This is what I want to talk about. Feel free to, 2 weeks out, like, yo, we're still good. 1 week out, hey, I'm excited. And then you never know. I've had people bail like 30 minutes before.
Yeah, we have to. It's frustrating because it's not a hobby, right? Like you're doing this for a reason. You're doing it because you enjoy it, you're passionate. You'd free up your time to invest in it. So it makes sense. I understand where you get frustrated.
Yeah, and then, dude, you're when you're building something, your audience has expectations. Like I say, hit your days. Mondays
your days. I like
Mondays and Thursdays. You're getting 2 episodes. You're getting an episode twice a week on those days. Now look, because of scheduling, sometimes I might release it at 11:50 Monday night. But you're gonna get it Monday. Yeah, you're gonna get it Monday. So when you wake up Tuesday, massive spike in my listens Tuesday morning because you know sometimes on the East Coast, especially if I'm releasing it here at 9:30,
it's 12:30 midnight,
right? And then Thursday, so like you're gonna get the 2 shows. Got to hit your days. So
that's what's up.
To your point, it's not only your expectations, it's your audience too.
It's their responsibility to them,
for
right?
sure.
Because you're doing this. Because people listen, like you said, they look forward to it. They're getting a lot of information from you. They're feeling good, feeling connected. It's like, well, where'd he go?
Yeah.
It's not you. Like you showed up,
bro. Totally, man. And it was really eye opening because ever since I started the show, I never took no time off.
We were just talking.
So
about that.
over the summer, due to a couple of different things, studio was going through some new changes. Cam and Mace weren't recording. I was like, yo, I haven't taken a break. I feel like I earned one. You know, in 9 years, I haven't. And it was perfect because the NFL preview show I do is like my biggest show of the year. It's about 3 to 4 hours. We literally break down every single team. Like we spent like 12 minutes on the Titans, right? Like who the fuck wants to talk about them?
But still, 3 to 4 hours of content is very good. That's hard to do.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And it's like the flagship show. So I knew even though I took the break, I'm going to get the audience to listen to that one. So I'll get the momentum back. And I remember like one of the coolest messages I got from some fan like 10 days into my break. He was like, I fucking miss you, bro.
Because
you become a part of
one of the best feelings in the world.
Yeah, dude, amazing feeling. And you become so a part of people's lives. Like think about the content and shows you guys consume. Yeah. Isn't it the worst when the season ends and now you gotta wait 6 months? So you're like, fuck, man, every Sunday night. I
built a relationship with this bro. Or at least listen to the voice and it keeps
or the show. So that was the first time that I took a break, and it was really eye opening to see just how appreciated your content is too. Yeah. Because like what we were talking about before, I'm so in the now. Well, now I'm in the now, but so much is like I got these numbers and goals in my head that I want to achieve, and I'm like, I got to just get there.
Yeah. And how hard is it, like, kind of digging like a sports betting show, right? Like, sports betting lines change so frequently, right? The games are so frequent. A podcast you're doing once or twice a week. Like, how do you keep that engaging when it is such a changing dynamic in a show? Because it's like, if I talked about the lines for this week, but you listen to it on a Wednesday, it may have shifted 3-4 times by then. Like, how do you keep that like in front of mind?
No, that's a great question, and it's a big part of the show. So like I call my show the best sports betting vibe on the internet, right? I always like to tell people, because not to like pat myself on the back, but I'm one of the few people that do it in front and behind the camera. So like I'm in a producer, not executive, but like in a director role too. So I see like from behind the camera how things look.
You got a way different perspective.
And now in front of the camera, it's helped me. So like I know that I'm in frame right now. As you guys are talking, I can adjust and so I'll do things on the show that normally I wouldn't do, because now I'm like, damn, Paki's and he's out of frame. Like I gotta, so it's helped me a lot. And I say that because what I do is the show is very fun and it's entertaining. And the best compliment I get is you have such an enjoyable show. Like the hour and a half goes by and people are like, damn, that was so fun. So we do, it's heavy sports betting, but with like a lot of sports talk. And how does DeAndre Hopkins going to the Chiefs help them, right? So things like that. And to answer your initial question about the Lions, I do a good job of having an understanding of how things are going to move. Okay. So like I'll say something, for example, and I don't know when this is going out, but the Bengals are 6.5 point dogs on Thursday. I'm like, you got to bet this now, because I think people are going to start betting the Bengals or probably get to 6. So maybe 5.5. I like it until 6. At 5.5, maybe I'll go Baltimore. So I give you an idea of where I would go, because to your point, I record Monday night. You might listen Thursday morning because you were busy. Now you have 2 shows to catch up on. So yeah, lines are constantly changing, but that's what's cool about social media. You have a Discord, you have a community. So you'll say like, yo, look, I said the Bengals plus 6.5, but Joe Burrow's out. pass.
Yeah, get rid of that.
Make sure you're following us where you're following, because that's important too.
Yeah, it's kind of actually keeps them on the hook a little bit. So it actually is a part of it. It's a good marketing
strategy.
tool to have.
Yeah.
A good strategy.
Yeah, totally.
I remember I got a chance to see part of your show live, that you recorded at Win. How much are you watching the sports, man? Is it like all day? Like you got to be locked in? Like how many hours you putting in?
Oh, dude, all I watch is sports.
Okay.
I don't watch
Specific
anything else.
like basketball side, like is it specific
kind of
sports
like
that you're.
I basically talk about the sports that I'm into.
Okay, which is basketball, football.
UFC,
Okay.
soccer, like international soccer, NFL, obviously. Baseball, I've noticed that it doesn't do well nationally, and my show is more national.
Okay.
So people in San Diego care about the Padres. People in Tampa don't.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Like the off chance that it's Padres and the Rays in the World Series, sure, maybe they'll tune into a Padres podcast. Maybe.
Okay.
But just nationally, it doesn't do well. So a lot of the talking points I'll have on baseball is like, I think Ohtani was betting. It's a betting story. There's constantly betting stories.
Yeah.
So we'll try to tie betting into it. People like to gamble, whether it's craps or whatever it might be. So I only get people on my show that I have an interest in.
You similar to us, man. That's what we've done.
So you I do jiu-jitsu and MMA, right? So if you into that, if you into video games, even though like a lot of my content isn't video games, but like I play FIFA all the time, right?
Okay.
If you played sports or you cover sports, and then if you're just into something I'm interested in, like you like to gamble, I'm like, I could do a show with you.
Got it.
Right. And I would always tell my friends, I was like, the one name I always will bring up is a Mark Zuckerberg. 5 years ago, I never would want to talk to him on the show, but now he does
because
jiu-jitsu,
he does jiu-jitsu,
and he loves
gonna
it.
fight Elon Musk and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So like that's something where I could get him on the show, and my audience knows how I am and with my content. They know I'm not just fishing because it's a big name. I think that's lame. There's a lot of shows
You're doing it because you want to genuinely know about the person.
Yeah, or like people. I take pride in my show because people come and listen for me. Right.
That's awesome.
So like you build a community, and the numbers might not be as big as what other people think, but I'm like, everyone that comes to listen to the show is listening for me. So then when I do get a Stephen A. Smith or a Brandon Marshall or Eric Nixick from Extreme Couture, or I get these fighters on, then it's like, oh damn, look who he got.
Yeah.
Right. So I always tell people, describe your show in a sentence, and you have to show your personality, because people could get yards per carry and points per game from anybody.
That's true.
You got to show, like, give some flavor, give some spice to it.
I love that you're breaking that background and everything. Let's talk a little bit about Patreon, right? So do people get fully, your perspective just on Patreon, or how do you kind of roll out, how people can get that info?
Oh, I mean, the podcast is free. I tell people like, you just listen to the podcast wherever you get it.
Yep.
Right. I'm sure you guys have the same thing. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, everywhere, like the generic stuff. I'm like, the podcast is free. The Patreon, there's giveaways. There's shout outs on the show. There's a Discord community. So building a community is important also. They'll get first dibs on certain things. So I don't do it as much during the football season, but if I was to have you on the show, it would be more evergreen, right? So it's not time sensitive. I could record with you today, could put it out in a month. It'll still be relevant. Got it. So what I'll do is, hey, I've already recorded with the Vegas Circle guys. You guys want to check it out? It's up on Patreon right now. For everyone else, you mother effers got to wait 2 weeks.
Got it.
Right?
So it's a way for you to grab.
Yeah. And like with my betting picks, you said something in the intro, which I always push back on. I am by no means a professional sports bettor. I never claim that I make my money off sports betting. I make my money off talking about sports and betting.
There's a difference.
A huge difference. I also am against people selling picks. I think that's the corniest thing. I think I've
beat me to it. That was one thing I wanted to ask you.
I mean, bro, I've had handicappers on the show, and I'm just like, I think it's crazy that you charge someone $1,000 for your picks. There's no guarantee return. So like my thing is, it's $5 a month. You get access to the Patreon. You'll see exactly what I'm betting. These are my picks. These are what I bet on. I'm fully transparent. Like, dude, week 9, worst NFL week I've ever had in my life in the 9 years. I didn't hit one bet.
And you were honest about it.
I didn't hit one bet. Even the bets I tried to chase, I didn't come close to hitting. And
people probably love that, though. They probably love, but he didn't get it yet.
You want to hear something crazy? I got 12 new Patreon members since Monday.
Because it's organic.
Yeah. They're like, yo, this guy is. I
love that.
Yeah. And I tell, so when I do my Patreon read, I'm like, yo, it's $5 a day. It's $5 a month, 16 cents a day. I was like, I know you bastards. You spend money on worse.
You spend money on Starbucks and everything else.
That's one cold brew.
Yeah, that's what you ain't lying.
And like, look, I do some cool shit. Like, we have a merch store. You get discounts on the merch. You get episodes early. For October, we're giving away a Maurice Claret helmet signed.
You're creative with stuff.
Yeah, like we'll do, and I have access to all these like dope ass people that, because I'm genuine with them, they do a lot of favors for me too. And I also don't lie to them. Like, bro, I've never scammed or lied. I've been myself throughout this whole journey. That's why there's a smile on my face as I say this. So, like, I'll even tell, like, I told Maurice Claret, I'm like, yo, look, I'm going to send you 4 helmets. I was like, one is for me. One is for George, my co-host.
Oh, yeah, George. Shout out to George,
The other one is my buddy Kyle, who we go to his house for UFC every weekend. He's an Ohio State alum. I want to get him that. And then the 4th one, I'm going to give it away on Patreon. I was like,
but you told him straight up.
I was like, yo, are you cool with that? He's like, bro, for you, anything. He's like, I appreciate the honesty. Now, you don't want to get the helmet and then it's like, yo, we got this helmet. We're giving it away. Join the page. He'd be like, hey, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it is good to be transparent, man. And I don't know if it's a New York thing, but for me, it's I feel like shit when I lie to people.
I think it's a little bit of a Midwest and East Coast thing. Because both of us feel it's the integrity, man. The gray. Because it's funny you say that. Because I remember we've been doing this almost 7 years, and I remember, I'm not gonna say the name, but we had asked some folks to go to dinner that are really in this space. But I told them straight up over the phone, like, hey, we're taking you to dinner. We went to Red Rock, if you remember where we went to. It was like, hey, we're taking you to dinner. It'd be Chris, my wife, and I. But we're taking you to dinner to pick your brain. Yeah. Like, I want to be straight up with you. Like, we picking your brain. And they were with it. Brought his partners. Hey, no problem, man. We got you. Yeah. So just pick your brain.
And shout out to you guys, man. 7 years. That's a dope accomplishment too.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. And like I just said, right, about being honest. If I don't really like doing a lot of shows.
Thank you, man.
Because like you never know who might have been at a Diddy party or something crazy. Like you never
Chris
know.
was at the Diddy party, man.
You never know.
Check his pocket.
Yeah, Chris was at the Diddy party.
I'm just saying, man. Everyone knows I'm Team $. I'm Team Mace. But
that's hilarious.
Yo, I never want to put myself in a situation where like my brand could be compromised or be not even accused, but like I really protect that shit, right?
You just like us, man. We aligned like a mug.
So I like going on shows, but I'm very calculated on the shows I go to. There's been some shows that I regret going on because of what happened after. At the time, I'm like, yo, they were cool with me. I had no issues, but then things transpire and you're like, fuck, man. That's a rough look, you know? But Chris came on your show, and like I said before, since Chris gave the cosign, and then I reached out because I listened to that show.
Appreciate that.
And I was like, I would love to. Because you guys, we're not talking about sports. So
we're talking about life and how you doing stuff.
I love that. I love that too. Yeah.
That's good. Good shout out for that, man. We have to run that back, run it as an ad for us, man. Give us love. But let's talk about podcasting a little bit, man. Where do you think podcasting is going? Because we've talked a lot about this, right? Like, there's so many different levels to this. There's so many different, angles you can go, right? Everybody and their mom starting podcasts, but we know a lot of them quit. We know all those percentages we won't get into. But where do you think it goes, man? Because you produce a lot of big shows. You've got your own show. You've been doing it for a while, almost a decade. Where do you think it goes?
You kind of just add to that, too. Like, how do you think, like, the Patron aspect or a Patreon aspect or some of these other avenues are helping project into what your goals are next?
Yeah, I mean, all amazing questions and great talking points. I think... Are you guys into martial arts at all? Are you familiar with like jiu-jitsu belts?
So you know what's funny? We were just talking about. I always wanted to do it and kept procrastinating. Right. We've had a couple UFC guys on, guys and girls. I want to do it just for the cardio, just for the ground game.
We actually try to coordinate something for him.
Literally, we were just talking.
Oh yeah. Maybe we'll get you guys to come over to my gym then.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I say that because I feel like podcasting right now just got its blue belt, right? So there's a white, blue, purple, brown, and black belt. And then even when you become a black belt, a lot of my friends that are black belts are like, yo, I still don't know nothing. Right? You're kind of putting in you're kind of putting in the time, right? So I think it's still in its infancy. Like you're just learning about podcasts. And just because there's a lot of them out there, it don't mean that they're good.
Correct. Yeah.
And I carry myself like I got the #1 show. I'm overly confident, bro. Like,
That's that New York.
I walk
York.
into rooms, no disrespect to you guys, but when I walk into rooms, I'm always like, yo, I think I'm the coolest person in here. Right. So I just like
gotta
feel
have
that
the
way.
swagger. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's in its infancy, and I think that there's still so many things that are evolving. Shows are going live. Shows are going live on Twitch or Rumble or YouTube. Shit, they're going live on TikTok and Instagram. If you don't have video, I think you are doing malpractice. You need video. I think it's become more important than audio. You don't want the audio to suck, but I think video is #1. Because how many times do you send someone a reel, right? Like, yo, check out this pod that Rogan did. He had a Theo Vaughn on, and then before you know, you're listening to 3 hours, right? So I think you definitely need video. And to answer your question, dude, there's Patreons that bring in like 6 figures, right? Easily. And you build a community. There's some shows that are exclusively on Patreon. There's some shows,
a lot of different ones.
Yeah. You have shows like that. And I think that there's so many ways that you can monetize. And my absolute favorite thing about podcasting, the networking. You invite someone on your show, you have their I always tell people, I don't like having my phone around. I have my phone charging because while I'm here, for as long as we're going to go, you have my undivided attention. I don't want nothing to vibrate. I know you're keeping clock. And as a host, I do have a clock always because I also, as I'm recording, I'm taking notes to send to my social clip maker. So
you take notes while you're doing it?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Okay. To know what you're doing better, whatever?
No, just like Nick's rant on Jared Goff. 77-minute mark.
I got to give you props on that. To take notes while you're doing it, I give you props on that.
I'll be honest with you, it's not as impressive. It's not it's not that difficult. Because I just wait for the other person to talk.
Oh, and you making an okay.
So after I finish, and like I give my editor, Dom, who started as an intern in college.
Is that who I met? Went to UNLV?
No. That's Isaiah. He met him out here.
Okay.
But he was also an intern at the studio. Now he's working with us. He's one of our main guys. But Dom was a fan of the show, and I'll randomly just be like, yo, I need an editor. I need this. I need that. And I just got a DM from him, and he's like, bro, I love this show. Like, any way I could help. So he started editing my videos. And then before you know it, I spoke to the dean of his college. He graduated because he was an intern with the show.
That's awesome.
And now he runs social media and head production for the New York Giants, my favorite football team.
That's fantastic.
And like still works for me to this day.
Damn, that's
and,
love,
and
man.
now it's dope because like I could pay him too. And I would always tell him like, bro, the vision is the vision, man. And like he sent me a pretty cool message the other day. He's like, yo, I'm so proud of you, bro. Like everything you're saying is happening. I was like, bro, you have no idea what's coming.
Man, you give me. I love these stories. Man. That you give me goosebumps on that stuff, man.
It's cool, man. It's perspective, right? Like like I told you before, I'm overly confident, but it comes from the work I put into things. You know, like with everything, and I've just become so full of myself, but in a positive way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know.
Like I feel like I've earned it, and I've been validated with the people I work with, and then when people meet me at the studio. Talk about networking, right? You walk into that place, it's
everybody and their mom coming through there.
Yeah, so and then they see how I move and how I interact, and I give people suggestions. Now it's like I have a battery in my back that is just like otherworldly. So, but all that comes from I'm very self-aware. If I don't know something, I definitely I've had people on the show. They've used the big word. I'm like, I don't even know what that means. You need to.
That's me all day.
I dropped out of college, bro. I got a high school education. Like,
tell me what the hell you're talking about.
What the fuck was that? You know? So. I think all that plays into everything that you see now.
Yeah. I love that you said about the networking, man, because Chris, I think that's why I forced him to do this is because of the networking.
He's a fantastic networker. I'm notoriously terrible at doing it. So the reason I thought it was getting me out of my comfort zone and get to meet people and, have that experience and really help to continue to evolve on that. But it's been night and day compared to what it was, when we started.
Yeah. Do you guys feel like podcasting has helped you in your regular life?
Everything.
Yeah, 100%.
Everything. Because it's funny, we were just talking about this with a friend of mine that I was on this podcast a couple weeks ago. I'll put it back on you for a second. I'm watching you, and it's iron versus iron, or iron sharpening iron. I get excited because I'm like, fuck, I gotta, you know what I mean? He's consistently doing it. I'm not Nick. I'm myself, Chris is himself.
Right.
But it makes you be like, damn, like it's a battery that keeps the energy going. You know what I'm saying? It's just exciting.
Enthusiasm that people have. Like you right now, when you just said it, I felt that, right? I felt that you were excited, you were passionate, trying to do stuff, you're feeling fulfilled, and then, you know, that bleeds off. Or we also want to do that, right? And you may get one little piece or a shred that you resonate with and lets you continue to develop. So,
but also to add to that, like people that we've interviewed, they might be, yes, we've interviewed, I'll be honest, we've interviewed multiple billionaires, right? And when you talk with them and you start to understand, like, shit, you're like, damn, what am I doing? Like, I'm lazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it keeps you more motivated to be like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's helped me with everything, 1,000%.
Yeah, I asked that because I think perspective has been a big part of everything that I do too. Like the tattoo I have here, right, is Spider-Man. Spider-Man's originally from Queens, but he's dangling from a street sign that has... It's 49th and Park Avenue. So that's where my dad's had the coffee truck for 30 years.
Wow.
So I recently was talking at UNLV, which is hilarious because I dropped out of college. So now I'm like, you're asking me to come speak. I was like, this is stroking my ego
hilarious.
crazy. But I built a good relationship with one of the professors there, and he asked me to come speak to the journalism class. And I tell him, I'm like, yo, every time I tell you this, are you sure you want me to tell you? Like, I have to be
piss
myself.
A lot of people off. I already know where you're going on this. Yeah.
They're seniors. I dropped out when I was a senior, right, with 24 credits to go. Best decision I ever made. It's a lot easier to say this because it worked out. Yeah, if it didn't, it would have sucked.
You're still at your mom's crib.
Right, right. Yeah. So the reason why I was showing the tattoo and the perspective of things, like, dude, I was making $500 a week, waking up at 2:30 in the morning to go flip eggs with my dad. Then I would come home at around 1 o'clock, shower, take a nap, go and lift, work out, then drive back into Queens because my parents live in Long Island. So I would drive back into Queens to film the show with my friends. I was doing that 4 times a week.
Team no sleep.
And then, bro, I was sleeping like for about 6 years. I said I would nap.
Yeah.
I would never sleep. I would take 2-3 hour naps like at night and then in the afternoon. So it's the hustle, it's perspective. So when I was talking to these kids, I was like, yo, for me, it's helped me so much in like my regular life because I'm a better listener. And I mean, shit, every girl that I spoke to, they're like, you're an amazing listener. I was like, this is what I do. Like I'm a professional conversationalist. Yeah. And you just pick up certain things like body language and picking up vibes of people, right? I'm sure you guys have recorded with 100%. some folks and you're like, damn, that shit sucked, honestly. Like, right? And then
Chris say the days.
Everybody's great.
Yeah. So a lot of it is perspective for me, man. And I don't know if I answered your question, but you know, just to go off on that tangent, I think that's really important too. And it's the makeup of everything that I kind of stand for.
100%. Yeah. I love that regardless. I'm glad you asked that question too, man. I wouldn't expect you to put it back on us, but you're right. 100%. It's changed perspective. 100%.
You know, sometimes I tell people another reason why I don't like being on shows is because like I feel so I love being a host. Yeah. So when I'm not in a host, it's kind of awkward.
Take control. You gonna take control.
We like to listen. That's how we do it. We like to listen.
Dude, I love asking questions too. Like I tell people, I'm like, yo, dig. Like they're giving.
That's how you learn.
Yeah. And dude, another thing, like perspective and experience. When I first started this stuff, I didn't know what I was doing. Right. I was just a sports fan. So I would have, like, I know you guys have bullet points and talk about it. That's different, but. Dude, we would interview athletes like early on, and I'd have my 5 questions, and I would ask you like, how did it feel when you got drafted? You'd give me an amazing answer, a story like, yeah, it was dope. I spent so much money on this watch for my mom, right? Yeah. And then I'd be like, how'd you feel moving out of your hometown? It's like I ignored everything you said, but I didn't know the game. I didn't understand that. It's like
you gotta learn. Yeah.
And then I would listen back to every episode. The first 3 years I was doing it, I would listen to every episode, every like. Yeah. Why was there such a long pause? Why didn't I dig? So now, I'll be in the studio sometimes and I'm going like this to people, like, yo, dig. They're giving, they're opening up to you. And through experience, I realized I was like, yo, this is shitty. Like, I'm not enjoying it. How's the audience going to enjoy it? Yeah. So now what I do is I call it controlled chaos. I have my 4 or 5 talking points where I'll have you on the show. And from there, it's wherever the conversation goes.
That's what's up.
And when I do feel like we've been going on a 20-minute rant, I'm like, yo, I got to bring it back. Got to bring it back. Controlled chaos. You know, I didn't forget where we were at. Yeah. Right. And again, listening is so important because I've had people talk for 4 or 5 minutes straight. And my advice to people is like, lock in on the one thing. Because then to them, it's like, I didn't just waste my time talking to him for 5 minutes.
And if it's an important thing, it's...
Well, because that's what I was going to add. I'm going to talk about kids, because I talk with my kids all the time. Communication is everything. It's finance and communication. So talking to UNLV about journalism, that's awesome. Yeah. Because no matter what, the communication, they've got to do that the rest of their life.
And I keep this so I know where Paki's at. I actually don't even use this for my questions, to be honest. I really want to know where he's going.
Yeah, you want to know where I'm going. So, but we got to talk about Cam and Mace, man. So how in the world did you, I don't want to say pull off, because I know the energy that you bring, but how did you meet Cameron and Mace, which I'm big fans of too, man, just listening to their music, you know, with the whole nine. But how'd you meet them?
Man, my favorite story ever, bro. Like, when I tell the story, people think I'm bullshitting. Right place, wrong time.
Right place, wrong time.
Yeah, like I was nowhere, like, I know people say right place, right time. I was at the studio like 7 hours before I was supposed to be. So like wrong time in the sense of I got there at 1. I was supposed to get there at 7. Right. So I guess right place, right time. Right. I'm just trying to be silly.
I follow you.
But I show up to the studio on a day, like I said, I was supposed to be there at around 7. Brian, shouts to Brian, the head technical director at the studio, he's in there. Brian, love the dude, a fucking wizard at his job. Kind of brain dead when it comes to sports and entertainment. Like he has his own lane. And again, he's a wizard, but you know, there's been like Coach K has been at the studio and he had no idea who Coach K was. We're like, bro, you like Coach K. This guy is this guy's an icon.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're talking about Duke.
Yeah, Coach
I'm
K.
thinking Coach K from Migos.
Oh,
no.
The original Coach.
I'm talking about Mike Krzyzewski.
Oh, okay, I know exactly.
So yeah, like Brian is in there, right? And I show up, like I said, when I'm not supposed to, and it was because I was lazy. I went food shopping and I didn't want to cook. So the Wynn lets us eat at the employee dining center.
Okay.
So I walk into the control room. Now there's a gentleman in the studio with his back to the control room. Like you saw the control room, right? There's like a glass window. So he has his back to me if the control room's in there. I don't know who it is. It's just a dude on this phone. I go in there. Brian's like, yo, man, what are you doing here so early? Basically what I just told you guys. And then Larry's over there. Larry turns out to be like Cameron's like right-hand man. He lives in Vegas. So I go, yo, what's up, man? Nice to meet you. And as I shake his hand, Cameron turns around. And I just go, yo, is that fucking Cameron? Just like that. And Larry was like,
you know
who Killer is? I was like, bro, Dipset was my shit growing up. I'm from New York. He's like, yo, what do you do here? I was like, I kind of do everything. And that's what I tell people at the studio. They're like, yo, what do you do here? I was like, I do everything.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything. So he's like, yo, you got to meet Cam. You got to meet Cam. So Cam gets off the phone. He's like, yo, Killer, you got to meet this kid from New York, this and that. I was like, yo, I love what you're doing with your show, bro. Like at the time that just went viral, he was talking about how strippers were the ones that called out Ja Morant with the guns. So they had the Ja Morant pistol video.
That's right. Yeah.
And he was like, yo, he's like, all you strippers, like everybody's always in there with guns. Like now all of a sudden y'all got a problem with it because it's Ja and y'all ruining your script. So that video got like 8 million views on Twitter. So that was when I first discovered their show.
Because of that?
Because of that video going viral.
Okay.
So then I started watching some clips, right? It's barbershop talk with New York flavor, covering sports. Hilarious, yeah. So they started asking me about the studio. Like, yo, what's good? Do you guys rent? I was like, yeah, we rent. This is what we do. This is what, you know, these are the cameras we run, all that. And one thing led to another. And I was just like, yo, if there's any way I could help you guys, you know, as far as booking, I was like, I don't do final bookings. My boss does. I could connect them with y'all. And you guys go from there. And as we go to leave, we just exchanged Instagrams. Like, I get followed by Cameron, and I'm like, yo, this shit is dope. Like, I sent it to my one friend back home.
100%.
Because, you know, his favorite rapper was Cameron. And I was like, yo, look who just followed me, bro. Like, what the fuck? Next day, they called me, and they're like, yo, come meet us for lunch. I was like, yo, I just finished training jiu-jitsu. Like, I got to worry about staph infections. I got to go. He's like, yo, you got to meet us now. And he said something interesting. He's like, yo, don't miss out on an opportunity.
Dang.
He said that.
Cam said this?
Yeah, like 12 times ever since. But I remember that one vividly. So I go out, meet him. I'm telling him about the studio. One thing leads to another. They come and they film 2 shows at the studio. They rent it. They had their whole team there. Their whole team was in there. And just the way I was moving and directing everything and kind of just like accommodating the people in the lobby also. And I thought nothing of it. I've asked 2 people for photos in all the time I've been at the studio. It's Mike Tyson and then Cam and Mace. And I only asked them for the photo. List. And it's the only photo I have with them, right? Like, I asked them because I didn't think it was going to be what it turned out to. And so that was like around Summer League.
Okay.
Around Summer League 2023. And then a couple weeks later, they signed the Underdog deal. And I just reached out to them. I'm like, yo, congrats, bro. That's super inspiring. I just started this show. I was like, next time you're in Vegas, I was like, beers are on you, though. Like I said, I said some dumb shit like that. Yep. And he just ha-ha'd it. And then he hit me up like 2 weeks later. I was like, yo, I'm thinking of moving my whole operation out to Vegas and recording out the studio. And again, I was like, yo, let me know, man, how I can help. I was like, that'd be sick. And then he called me like a week before they moved. He's like, yo, I want you to be my editor and producer.
Dang. Well,
I was like,
been a feeling, huh?
I was like, sure. He's like, how much you want? I was like, what do you need? He told me. I gave him a number. He's like, all right, bet. And then that was it. They moved their whole shit out there. And ever since, like, I'm a big part of what they're building over there. It is what it is.
Powerful, man. Yeah.
Man, you know, you handle it gracefully right now, but I could tell you were feeling a certain type of way in that moment.
Yeah, bro. Like, dude, they've done so much for me. Obviously, financially, it's been fucking 100%. Crazy, right? Like, I told you I lost $50,000 investing in the food truck during the pandemic that my dad and that was $25K that I saved up. Mind you, now I'm making $500 a week.
Oh yeah.
So for me to save, $25K, that shit was like my whole year's salary.
For real.
In some situations. And then my grandma took out money from her will and she gave that to me for the food truck. So that was $25K that I was gonna have, eventually. And then I lost the $50K. And then fast forward to this past summer, they threw me a bonus.
Got it back.
Got it all back, man.
Yeah. You got to bet on yourself, man. That's why you're the bet. The sports bet is you got to bet on yourself.
It's the best. And it's the best bet you can make. One of the things that I like about everything that I do now is I have a control in the outcome. I don't worry about algorithms. I was like, I know, like I told you before, I know my shit is dope. If only 2% of the audience sees it because of the algorithms and who knows what was said or that shit is always ever changing, I can't do nothing about it. But I know when people come on the show for the first time, they end up becoming fans of the show, which is like one of my favorite endorsements you get. And then anytime new people see it, they like
they latch
on. Yeah. That's awesome. And you could see when you look at the analytics, like you have a Stephen A. Smith on your show. These are what your numbers were before. There's a spike because you have Stephen A. on your show. Well, how many of those people stay? 5%? 5% when 100,000 people listen, that's 5,000 new listeners.
Yeah.
It's a massive swing.
That's a strong point that you're making. Yeah. I didn't even think about it like that. That's
you're
awesome.
always going to see a backslide, right? Because they bring their audience. And if you get to keep some of their audience, that's hugely impactful.
Yeah, dude. Even 1%, like what? Like 1,000 new listeners to every show? Like, that's the thing. People don't understand how one of the big like positive feedbacks I get, it's kind of a backhanded compliment.
Okay.
Whenever people listen to, not listen, but they see my analytics when I reach out to sponsors or advertisers, whatever it might be, when they look at what my audio does and then what my social media following is, they're blown away. Mind you, I had
huge difference.
Massive.
Okay.
The majority of my audience, if not, like I'd say like 70% consume the audio. Mind you, for 4 years I was doing audio before I started video. So there's a drastic difference between, and now I put more of an emphasis on YouTube because I've seen what YouTubers can make. Right? Before it was just like, we'll just throw the whole video on there. But now it's like putting some money behind it.
You got to be strategic. Yeah.
Thumbnails.
And usually
posting
it's the
it
opposite.
at the same
So
time.
the fact that you already had a pretty strong audio base, and then create the video, that's going to be even more impactful.
And now, and to that point, you're absolutely right, because now you see a lot of people start shows and like their video is popping, but no one listens
to the audio. Yep.
And the audio is, and you can market it 2 different ways. Like you could have audio only sponsors, and then you could have video product placement, brand endorsements. So there's that's why there's so many ways you can make money.
100%. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I can continue to keep talking about this. One last thing I want to ask you about Cam and Mace. What's the biggest lesson that you learned from them that you've been able to implement with what you're doing now, just you personally?
Yeah, I love that. They put the biggest battery in everything that I'm doing now. Because, dude, for so long, like, I don't know if you guys feel it in your field, but I I feel like I always knew what I was talking about. Not in sports, but like in the podcast etiquette, you know, talking to the mic like this. Because if I start talking like that, now you're audio, now right? So like little things like that, like posture, you know, like let's conviction when you're talking into the mic. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember it was a Thursday night, and I gave him a suggestion on how to, you know, when you have a caller, I told Stat, I was like, yo, direct the questions when you have multiple people on the show that are not familiar with one another.
Got it.
So imagine there was 2 other people on the show.
Call them out.
Yeah, be like, yo, Nick, what do you think of podcasting? Mike, how do you feel about podcasting? Shane, how do you feel about what Nick said? Because now there's a social cue. Paki's talking to Nick, Shane, Mike, shut up. Chris, don't say nothing because Nick's being addressed. You're talking to Chris. Now I know, all right, Chris is talking.
Got it.
Because I hate when people are talking over one another. And you're going to have those moments, like people are laughing, whatever it might be. So it was something along the lines of that. I gave them a suggestion. And then the next week, they started doing it immediately, right? And I go to change the camera. I'm doing something in the studio. I'm just like giddy, like how I am now. Yeah. Cam just looks up and he goes, yo, what's good, bro? You got some pussy yesterday? Like, why are you so excited? And I was just like, and Mace is like, yeah, Nick, like, you so happy today. I was like, yo, this is going to sound weird, but I was like, yo, it's you guys, man. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, you guys took my advice. And like, you guys are, you know, elite. You guys are who you are. And then Mace told me something interesting. He's like, yo, how long you been doing this? I'm like, about 9 years. He's like, I hope if you ever wanted to make a rap album, you'd come to me and Cam.
That's a good point.
He's like, yo, you're an expert in your field.
Much respect. Yeah.
He's like, when it comes to your field, he's like, if you have a suggestion, and we're like, oh yeah, that's a good one, we're gonna do it. And I was like, yo, and then I got these fucking loser podcasters coming into the studio. I was like, how are you gonna tell me anything, bro?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I got these guys in the palm of my hand, and I don't mean that in an ego way.
I know what you're
I
saying.
mean, like, you know, we have a great relationship, and when I say in the palm of my hand, it's like if I give them a suggestion and they like it, they'll do it, right? And it's like, there's been times where we'll have a segment on the show and I'll be like, I don't know if that was a good one, man. Maybe we should cut that. Maybe because like the energy was low. It was just like awkward, whatever it might be. And I'll be like, all right, yo, bro, you got creative control. If you think something's whack, if you think something's no good, stop the show. Let's do another take, whatever it might be. And it's cool to build that relationship. And then it goes back to what I was saying earlier in the show, man. There's a level of confidence that you develop where it's not an ego way. It's more of like validating. You're like, damn,
confidence.
bro.
Confidence is different than I think cocky.
Yeah.
You know what else? You know what else it is? It's a respect.
Sure.
It's a respect. That's what it is. It's a respect. So that's awesome, man, that you earn that respect, man. So who's in your circle that speaks life into you that's been able to keep you on the right path? Who do you bump stuff off, man? And what have you learned from that to kind of keep you on the right, you know, the right angle?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. And, you know, lately I've been having a lot of perspective on things. And I just went back home recently. I was there last week. And I don't really be going home as much, maybe like twice a year.
Okay.
And
you still got a lot of family back there still?
Everyone. I came out here by myself.
Oh, got it.
I only knew like a couple people, you know, but I kind of can adapt to any environment. But I've been having a lot of perspective. So I love that you asked this question because I feel like as I've gotten older, friends that I make in my 30s are better than the friends that I grew up with. And not all of them, right? Because I still got like, dude, I got 6 guys back home. That perspective is everything, right? So I went to Colombia in the summer and I was on this island. I was drinking a pina colada, so I sent them a picture. And I was like, man, I'm so happy I got vacation. Mind you, all my friends are like plumbers, electricians, blue collar shit, right? 9-to-5ers. My friend Danny, my best friend Danny goes, damn, bro, you deserve that vacation because being in a $6 million studio with Cameron and Mace every night is so fucking exhausting. And I was like, yo, I love that. I love that perspective, right? Like,
because they busting their ass every day.
Yeah, man. So that's why I was saying before, it's like the things I do now, I work hard and I respect my craft.
It's a different kind of hard.
It's a different, like when I tell people, yo, I don't work that hard. I mean physical. Like I'm accustomed to blue collar shit, like drilling holes into the center of the planet. That's taxing, bro.
1,000%.
When I'm sitting like this and I'm just yapping for an hour or 2 hours and then
it's not work.
It's not work, right? So again, perspective is a big part of my life. And with the people I keep in my circle, bro, if you don't make fun of me, if you don't troll me, if you don't check me, I don't trust you. The people that like
kissing your ass. And
yeah,
do
bro.
all this stuff.
No. So I've had my I got like 5-6 guys back home that I was posting about them back home when I was there, and we kind of got a little like a crew name. We call it the Last Ones Left.
Okay.
Where it's like real friendships, you know, 20, 25 years, and even some of the newer guys. It's just like, yo, man, don't wear that shirt. You look like a clown when you wear it. Or like, what are you doing with your hair, bro? Like, fucking shave your beard, dude. You look better without. Like, that's the kind of stuff, right?
That's a brotherhood, man.
Yeah, for real, man. And I've been super lucky to find that out here too in Vegas. Like the guys that I've met in jiu-jitsu at my gym, I've gotten really close with them. I basically just hang out with them, you know, because like the guys that I work with in the studio, awesome dudes, but like we're in different stages of our life. Like one is married with 1 kid, the other's married with 3 kids. The other one's been in a relationship for 7 years. I'm single, no kids. I haven't had a girlfriend since high school. Yeah, like it's been
Vegas gets you in trouble too.
Vegas will definitely get you in trouble. So like
I keep Colombia.
Yeah. So I keep my circle. I have a lot of friends.
But your circle's tight.
The circle's small, yeah. And like even when you see me with different crowds and whatnot, it's like it's for networking, it's for business, it's for like the people that really know me, it's very few. Yeah. It's very few. And I got like I said, my mentors, I take pride in I never had to pay for them to be my mentors.
I love that.
Yeah, because like I see a lot of people are like friends with these entrepreneurs and these billionaires. It's like, yeah, but you're paying for their master course. I was like,
of course, a genuine relationship is different.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Relationship is different,
for sure. So, I got a pretty small circle, man. And as far as like, I would even say George and that I do my show with, like he's become a really good friend of mine too. Yeah. And you know, even on the show, he'll be like, I think we should cut that. And I haven't had anyone tell me what to do with this show. And I'm very open to like, bro, this is your show too. Like, when we have a guest on and you're excited to talk to them, like
go down that lane.
Bro, there's been one time like recently, George was talking to this guy for like 8 minutes. I didn't say a word for 8 minutes on my show. But George was into it and they were engaging, and so it's like, why do I gotta chime in? Like, let him do his thing. He's shining right now. Like, it's cool, bro. It's cool. Like everyone can eat. Like it's fine. So I keep the circle pretty small, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a good response. Yeah. With business advice, man, I know like you stepped away from your family's company.
Yes.
Followed your dream with the podcasting space. What would you say to people listening right now on business advice, whether maybe they want to start their own podcast right now? What would you say to them?
Shit, man. Like I said before, I'm fully transparent. I don't like giving business advice because I go to people.
That's
for that.
Honest. Yeah, that's honesty.
Like my buddy Chris, I call him my agent. I go to him like, yo, read this contract. I want to make sure that I own 100% of everything that I have. Yep. And you kind of have an idea. He's read like a bunch of my contracts now, and you know he's super.
With the intellectual property,
yeah, like he knows all that. So like he a shark too. Like you ain't pulling no fast one on him.
That's what you want,
right? Right. So I have no problem with being like, yo, I don't understand what this means. You gotta put me on, right? Yeah. So when it comes to business advice, I'll tell you what worked out for me.
Okay.
I put everything I made into my show. Every single dollar.
You invested in yourself.
Every single dollar.
Love it.
I'm like, yo, you guys invest in stocks and Bitcoin, all this shit. You don't put no money into yourself. Whether it's the gym, whether it's your craft, whether it's your hobby, whatever it might be. Like, yo, put some money into that. That's your best investment. Yeah. And like I said before, I have a hand in the outcome. And I love that.
Yeah. Because you want to hold the ball.
Yeah.
You want to hold the ball for your life.
Yeah. And I'm in a space right now with like the people that I'm working with and all the cool shit that I'm doing, that I'm still investing into the show. Like that hasn't changed. Every dollar I make from the show, I haven't bought no clothes, no beers. Like it's literally like I'm paying a social media maker.
That's us.
I'm paying this. I'm paying that. Studio time. I don't pay for guests ever. That's a cardinal sin. I think that's the dumbest thing.
We have not at all, not one guest we pay for.
Nah. I just see it like if Joe Rogan don't ask people to go on his show and pay, like why should I? You know, 100%. You want to build a genuine relationship.
I'm glad you said that because a lot of people ain't honest with saying that.
Yeah. No. So for me, I just put every dollar back into the show, and I still, the show drains money from me even to this day. because I'm still investing into it. Like I make enough that the show could operate now as far as like breaks
not being
even.
in the red. Yeah.
It's not in the red anymore. But we're talking about like you're talking about like 9 months ago this happened.
Yeah.
But before that, it was like social media maker because I also love living. So
well, you living in Vegas too, man. Come on,
for
now.
sure. But dude, like my schedule, man. In the mornings, I lift or I do jujitsu. I come home, I play a little Xbox. Like I said, I play FIFA, and then from 2 to midnight, now it's work mode. So I got a nice work-life balance. I don't even like saying that because like this shit isn't work.
Yeah,
so it's fun.
Yeah.
But for me, when it comes to business advice, the only thing that worked for me was I put everything into this. Even money I was making off the coffee truck. It's like, yo, I need this new microphone. I need this. I need that. Let me take this trip to go to Vegas, meet all these guys at the studio on my own dime. I connect with Jeremiah. Jeremiah tells me, yo, you got to move to Vegas. I'm like, yo, just let me know.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah. I love that, man. Invest in yourself. I'm telling my kids that all the time, man. Just invest in yourself, man. Do a whole bunch of different stuff, man.
Your best return.
Yeah, 100%. We always talk about restaurants, man. Vegas is becoming, especially, I'm going to say this. I know a lot of my friends from New York. I love New York food, but I got to say it from Chicago. Chicago got better food than New York. So I got to say that. But I know I ain't going to give you enough chance to answer. But Vegas is becoming the mecca of food right now, man. What's your favorite restaurant in Vegas?
I love berries.
Shout out. Okay. We had them on. Yeah. Shout out to Yassine, Marco, Chef
the
Barry.
man.
We had them on our pod. They're great
Dude,
people.
Yassine is such a good dude that it almost feels like
Y'all could be brothers too, by the way,
Yo,
man.
I
Y'all
love
both
that
look
guy,
like y'all
man.
look like cousins, man.
Bro,
Shout out to Yassine.
You know what's dope?
Man.
I met him through Chris.
Yassine's
right?
great.
I met him through Chris.
Yeah.
And he's a big soccer fan, and we'll always talk
100%.
about soccer. And his dad's an immigrant like my dad, so there was a lot of synergy, right?
Yeah.
And like, dude, there'll be times where I'll take a date there. I'll go with my parents. I'll look at the bill. I'm like, bro, you blessed me
Show
too
love.
much.
Yeah.
And yeah, anytime I could shout, I send so many people there.
Yeah.
So I love berries. Where else? There's a El Segundo. It's right across from the Wind. It's like a little taco. It's in the
corner area.
Yeah, it's in like Fashion Mall.
Right
like over
the
there.
left.
Yeah,
gave us somebody else.
That place is good.
Yeah.
It's a taco spot.
Yeah, like Mexican food. And yo, you know what? Best part? It's not gonna kill your wallet.
I love that.
Yeah.
Great atmosphere.
You and the +1 go.
Yeah.
Like $80. It's nice, and you'll get like food too. Like I don't mind paying.
Yeah.
But if you give me a portion like that, I'm gonna swing on you, bro. Like I can't be doing that. So
I get it.
I like that place. I like berries.
That's a good. Finally, a place where somebody recommends it. I've been to both.
I've never been to that spot, so I gotta check that out. I like the little hole in the wall spots too. So
and then of course, gotta shout out to Standard.
Yes.
Oh, of course, Chris. Yeah, shout out to Chris. Okay, gotta show him love,
food,
man.
especially for a bar. Great food.
Bro.
Yeah. But he knows, man. He knows what he's doing, man. He's been in the whole hospitality space for a long time, so he knows what to put on the menu. So shout out to the Standard up in Centennial Hills. So good people over there. Anything we forgot to ask you, man, that you want to leave us out on?
Nah, man. I kind of want to ask you guys something.
Of course, man. Whatever.
So I got this. Like I was telling you before about perspective, right?
Sure.
I'll be 34 in March.
Okay.
I view people that are older than me as a cheat code.
Okay.
Kind of a time machine because you've lived longer than I have. You have experiences that I haven't had yet. What would you tell me to do if you were my age now? Like different. What advice would you give me?
So I'm 45 now, man. I'm been with my wife 20 years. We got 2 kids now. I would say, man, the most important is picking the right woman. Like 1,000%.
He's going to take mine too.
You already know. I mean, we've been friends for 12, 13 years now, and you found the right woman, right? That's the most stress that you're going to deal with. You know how it is, man. If you get the wrong person that's not in your corner, toxic and just drains you. Because I've been in those relationships too before. But having the right woman to have the right support and be able to give you the right energy, that's what I would say is take your time is what I would get at is take your time, spend the time, really learn who that person is before you put the ring on their finger if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, so, I think for me, you know, what you learn is, and you already do this, be true to yourself, you know, be confident what you're doing, but also do it the right way. I think that's the most important thing that I've learned is when you're doing something, don't half-ass it, do it the right way, do it with integrity, and it'll come back around to you.
Yeah. No, I like that you mentioned integrity, man, because I also feel like when people vouch for me, I feel like I can't let them down too. You know, 100%. Like I feel like, you know, recently I had a friend of mine connect me with this girl. We went out on a couple dates. But like, you know, we stopped talking, but it was good. Like it wasn't no fuckery. I didn't do anything stupid. Like I never was like that. Because my mom would always tell me like, yo, imagine if like, and I know it sounds weird, but like imagine if you were going out on a date with me. Would you do like this fuckboy shit to me? No. So like that's how you should treat women, right? And my parents been together 38 years.
That's what's up, man.
So awesome. So like for me, that's definitely what I want. And when people vouch for you, I feel like you represent them too, man. So like with that girl, I told her, I was like, look, so-and-so connected us. I'm not gonna do nothing dumb. Didn't do nothing dumb. Just didn't work out. I was like, listen, like a man, didn't play no games. And I was like, yo, because she's like, yo, not a lot of dudes your age do that also. She's like, I appreciate it. And I was like, yo, look, I feel like I represent them. They're vouching for me. I don't want to ruin their reputation too. So that's always been the integrity thing that you're bringing up. Like that's kind of the thing that I like doing too.
Yeah, integrity means you're just honest, right? Doesn't mean you tell people what they want to hear or that's going to be the best situation. But if you're honest, you're being true to yourself, then it's hard to be mad at you for that.
Yeah. And if you don't like me for that, bro, that's your fault. Like, I can't.
Yeah. But this city is so small.
Yes, very true.
People are going to, like you said, like we know a lot of the same people. You don't even know it. You know what I mean? Behind the scenes. So, but yeah, good stuff, man.
Yeah, that's a great.
Now I could talk to you for hours, man.
Well, we have to have you come.
I literally could talk to you for hours, man. I like this conversation, man. We went on a lot of different rabbit holes, man. I liked it, man. What's your social handles, man? People can follow you and do all that good stuff.
All things for my show is Veterans Minimum. Okay. Pretty clean cut, no underscores, Veterans Minimum. And my social media is @NickDais10.
Okay. Man, check this guy out, man. Keep following him. Like you said, Chris Moorhan said he's a star, man. He's taking over. And we just putting a little flame on what you're doing, man. And we appreciate you sitting down with us. Check us out at thevacarshirt.com and subscribe with us, man. So appreciate you, brother. Yeah,
great
stuff.
Yeah, great stuff.
Very nice.
Okay.